Hello, this is Lady Boulay. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, the South African so-called refugees are still trending and people are still talking. And it's just got people baffled because clearly these people are not refugees. And clearly this is a sign of blatant favoritism on the part of the Trump administration. Nevertheless, people are making observations about the South African refugees, and this particular man on TikTok made a startling declaration about the difference between white Americans and white South Africans. And I thought you might be interested to watch this because there is a difference. I believe he's right. I believe there is a difference. So I want you to listen to it and we'll see if you agree with him.
South African whites scared they're gonna get massacred, so they seeking a refugee status here in America. I'm like, you know what you could do in South Africa to keep yourself safe, white South Africans? Share that goddamn stolen wealth. Oh, this colonizer logic is exhausting, bro. This constant playing the victim, that way they project playing the victim onto their very real victims is just tiring. Can't tell me nothing about South Africa. That was the first place I ever rest my head to sleep on the African continent. It was Cape Town, the whitest place in South Africa in 2014. I went down there for the Jazz Festival. And let me tell you something. The wealth disparity is so extreme. It just flies in the face of the propaganda of the Rainbow Nation. And the black folks there have had enough of it. So they have policies there to spread that wealth back to black folks because it was stolen from black folks based on race. Now that white South Africans is in the ear of Trump, white South Africans like Elon Musk and the one that nobody talks about, Peter Thiel, born, raised, fed, and bred on Nazi propaganda, are doing things that only Nazis would do.
Peter Thiel is one of the powers behind the throne, if not the power behind the throne. He's also a billionaire, brought up in South Africa, friends with Elon Musk and JD Vance. So he's been the power behind the rise of JD Vance. So there's power and then there's power behind the power. And that is what we're dealing with in America. These men, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, brought up in South Africa under apartheid, are angry because the apartheid system ended and those black people are getting at least some of their land back. They see that as an injustice to the white people in South Africa. Again, they want to have all of the land. That land belongs to those black people. All of it belongs to the black people. But at least some of the white South Africans understand that they've got to share that land and that country. But some of them don't want to share. Elon Musk and Peter Thiel are two of the ones who don't want to share any of the land, any of the power with the black people.
And of course, they're simpatico because America and South Africa are both settler colonial nations, so the people who benefit from it have a similar mindset. But when I went to South Africa, I found a key psychological difference between the American white man and the South African white man. And that is that the South African white man could never really sink into the illusion that all of this was his. In America, the white man can drive from sea to shining sea, especially out here in the West, turn on some country music and fantasize that all of this is his own birthright. But in South Africa, the indigenous people are still 90% and they understand that they are outnumbered and they have to play the game differently. And this colonizer logic is exemplified, and a lot of people don't know about this in America, but the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa, where it was pulling tiger teeth from a live saber tooth to get these white folks to admit with words that racism had happened, that an injustice was done based on color, and that something needed to be done about it. And just reconciling it, saying it verbally, took so much energy that it took all the juice out of now dispersing the wealth. People saying that this is the last kick of the dying mule of white supremacy, but always remember, the last kick of the mule is always the hardest. A lot of people forget that during the Holocaust, The most of the victims that were executed in Auschwitz got killed after the Germans knew that they were going to lose, so they turned up the temperature. And the same thing is going to happen here. When they know that they're on their way out, they're going to ride the hardest, and you got to be prepared for that. But it ain't nothing that we as a people can't handle. We know that. That's why we're not scared. But the thing that I want you to remember is that the universe is on your side. And what is it telling these people? That colonizers, it's time for you to find a new hustle. I said this on the Kim Iverson show, and I'm going to say it now. It's time to find a new hustle. This extractive parasitic model is dead. It don't help the whole human race evolve, and it don't help you evolve. It's keeping you weak. It's keeping you afraid. It's keeping you in the worst possible version of yourself. You need to let it go so you can evolve. You got this white supremacist mindset, and you see that the whole universe is ripping this out of your hands, and if you don't want to let it go, you will suffer. And if you want to keep on playing with us, we're going to laugh as we watch you fuck around and find out. Holla back.
So he pointed out the difference between white Americans and white South Africans very well. He said that the white South Africans, after apartheid fell, they had something called truth and reconciliation, where they had to come together. The black and the white South Africans came together and realized there were problems. And the white people had to admit that injustices had been done against the South Africans, and that there was discrimination, and that they had been wronged. Now, I'm paraphrasing it, but that's what the white people had to come to terms with. And also, he says that the white people in South Africa always knew that that land was not theirs because they are so grossly outnumbered by the black people in South Africa. And the black South Africans always knew that that was their land. No matter how many white people came there, they knew that was their land. But in the United States, these white people will never acknowledge that anything wrong was done to black people and that they're not entitled to all of this land from the East Coast to the West Coast. They think it's all theirs. They truly believe that. And therein lies the difference. The white South Africans know that land is not theirs. White Americans do not know that this land is not theirs. They believe that this is theirs. And letting go of that notion is going to be a very hard thing for them to do. And that's what he's saying. They're going to have to come to terms with it. And if they don't, we're just going to have a real problem here in America. Okay, y'all, just let me know whether or not you agree with this guy. I think he said it really well. Do you agree? I do. I agree with him. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a great evening.